What do we do if we fall off the path? Sometimes we can have trouble dealing with this, like, oh no, I've fell back on these bad habits or things we do to cope with being out of balance, which I thought I was done with, right? What should I do? Well, here's a little bit of a different perspective. We're not doing anything anyway. So the only thing there is to do ever really is observe, because that's what we're doing. We're observing our chemistry and our conditioning playing out, our nature running off. We're not actually doing anything. We just think we're somebody doing something. We think we're in control. We think things are happening to us. All these attachments brought about by the thinking mind and perpetuated by the sea of stimulation, aggravation, and information have us thinking we're in control. And so that has us identifying with and attaching to our somebodyness or our ego, which makes us think we're doing something, but we're not really doing anything. This is all, control only exists in the thinking mind. Our ego only exists in the thinking mind. When we stop thinking and solve all of your problems. When we stop thinking, we are severing that identification and attachment with our somebodyness. And presence dissolves the ego, our attachment to the ego, because we're dissolving the attachment to it. Every second we're in the present moment, we're dissolving our ego. So getting back to what do we do when we fall off the path? All there is to do is observe and realize you're not doing anything. You're not making any choices. We just think we're in control. What happens when we stop thinking? When we stop thinking long enough, we become the observer and we realize we're just nature running off. So if we're backtracking or falling on bad habits, right, things we do to cope with being out of balance, it's really our chemistry and our conditioning just playing out. That's all it is. It's going to go up and down. It's going to go up and down for a while. And then it may seem to stabilize at some point, and then it may go back, and then it may go forward, right? And also, if we end up falling back in these things that we thought we were done with, remember, as a higher and higher level of conscious beings, as we raise our vibration, our level of consciousness, and we start observing more, when we gain these new perspectives and go back and forth between perspectives, it allows us to gain a deeper understanding, which is very important on our journey of progression, of spiritual evolution. So that's what happens, you know what I mean? When you fall off, it's okay. There's nothing to do. We're not doing anything. Bad habits are just things we do to cope with your being does to cope with being out of balance. That's it. We're just observing. It doesn't matter. There's really nothing to do. We're not doing anything. It's just that attachment we're working on, dissolving the ego. This is what's going to free us from the traps, the illusion that keep us in the cycles of suffering. So next time you fall off, remember you're the observer, and we need to stop thinking long enough to see our nature running off. Remember, it's always the sea of stimulation, aggravation, and information that is perpetuating cycles of thought, which has us thinking we're somebody doing something, thinking we're in control, thinking things are happening to us, which keeps us caught in the cycles of suffering. So my conditioning is reminding myself, why I'm making these videos, and to remind you, my friends, who are also on the path, that there's nothing to do but stop thinking. That's it. And we need to remove the aggravators and the stimulators. I find myself more and more, my conditioning finds itself more and more removing, going even deeper and removing the stimulation, aggravation, information, because as we progress on this journey too, it can be harder to balance when we have more negative. We're more sensitive to more, not negative, but things that push us out of balance, right? So it may be necessary for us to keep removing more and more until because again, to get in this higher levels of presence of being of the observer, We have to facilitate higher levels of peace sometimes, because you look at the monks and things like this. And what are they doing? That's exactly what they're doing. They're removing as much stimulation as possible, because the goal is to be present, because that is the ultimate divine union with our cosmic beloved, with our Heavenly Father. And that allows the divine to work through us, and that's how we become our higher selves. So this is what the whole game's about. The whole game is about giving it all up. Can we give it all up? And, which is thinking and our attachment to our somebodyness and our ego, identifying with the somebodyness. And remember, the path is self-correcting. I've made videos on this previously, which is the greatest part. You don't got to do anything. You're the observer anyway. We're just nature running off anyway. So our chemistry and conditioning will take care of itself. Just observe, just observe. And then you become the vessel, the vessel for the divine, and allows God to work through us at the highest levels as the observer, because we are God observing itself. We just get caught up in the mind and the ego and the attachments and the identifications. We get caught up in this. The illusion is very powerful. It's going to keep pulling our beings back, right? Our conditioning, and our chemistry can. When our chemistry is trying to balance itself through purification, through everything we're doing, right? Or not doing, rather. That can be hard for ourselves to deal with, right? And our conditioning is just going to react based off however it knows how to do with the changes in the chemistry. This is all part of the process. And the deeper we go, we'll eventually get kicked into purification, things like purification and all that entails. Taking care of the body to the highest level, trying to eat the highest foods, the most cleansing, healing, hydrating, electric foods possible. And this journey of doing this is just because purification aids in being present and being the observer, because it calms the mind and lets us be. So it's this. All these things are gravitating, are in the same kind of field, working toward each other and with each other, and then completely with each other, right? So whatever happens in our lives, we always have to come back to presence. That's all there is to do. And remember, we are simply nature running off, chemistry and conditioning. We only think we're in control. Control only exists in the thinking mind. We think we're somebody doing something. When we stop thinking, what is that? That's surrender. What is surrender? Giving up control to our cosmic beloved, saying, I trust you 100%, to stop identifying with this joker, the ego, who's keeping me trapped in the illusion and trapped in the cycles of suffering. I give it all up. I'm using the wisdom I've gained from my suffering to continue on the journey of presence, of observation, being the observer, and to help others by sharing my experience, my chemistry and conditioning, my nature running off. This is all part of my nature running off, is sharing my experience now through these talks and these videos. Thank you for joining me on this night, my friends. May our cosmic beloved grant you peace, patience, presence, health, and understanding. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.